Intent is the difference between going to prison or not. Intent is a huge thing. Like, let's not downplay intent.
Regardless of whether is it an opportunistic theft or an intentional theft, at the end of the day, it is still a theft. Let's get into the questions. My partner and I can't agree. He collected our grocery order tonight for $140 worth, but the company had an IT issue, so we never got the message to say that our direct-to-boot order, I don't even know what that is.
That's where you pick it up and they put it in your boot.
Oh, our direct-to-boot order is ready. So he went inside the store to grab it. 2 hours later, we got a message to say our order had been cancelled and that we would be refunded due to an IT issue. The thing is, we got our food and now it looks like we don't have to pay for it as the refund is going to come through. Now, I think because they are a huge company and we spend at least $300 a week from them, I'm talking we're a family of 3 kids and we buy nappies, etc. And we are also farmers in drought, so we have been struggling to make ends meet. So I think that this is a little treat. It's almost like winning the lottery. He thinks we should ring them to let them know that we got the food and that we don't need a refund. I know he is morally right, but surely sometimes you just have to take a little win in life. Interested to know your thoughts.
I think everyone listening right now is going to feel probably the same way. Morally, yes, your husband is right.
Your husband's a good man.
Morally, you have received your food. You do not need
Morally, you received it and
the refund.
Theoretically, metaphorically, and literally, you received your food.
So morally, yes, you've received your food and the money's coming back in, and that means that they are out of pocket. So should you return it? Yes. Are you going to return it? No. Let's be real. Let's be real. I think most people in this situation would probably want to take it like a treat. There'll be people out there that wouldn't be able to live with themselves. That's fine. What I feel like saying for you is I feel like this is maybe a little win that you need. You said you're a farmer that's really struggling in drought with 3 kids. I think you're going to keep it, and I think that's probably okay. I know people will probably come for me for that, but if you're struggling that much and it means that your kids get fed that week and you put nappies on, we know how much the big supermarkets can absolutely annihilate us sometimes.
Yeah.
I know it's so wrong. I feel guilty even saying it. If I ever accidentally take something, I take it back because morally that's what I'm like. I feel really guilty, but I feel like maybe this is a little lotto win for you.
I think you are trying to be politically correct for fear of people getting angry at you.
I don't steal. I take stuff back.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Of course you don't intentionally steal. Like, I don't think anyone intentionally steals. Well, actually, it's a lie. A lot of people intentionally steal.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But I think in this instance, look, and this comes as someone who is a business owner, like I feel as though there is, and I don't want to say that there's differences in terms of the people that you steal from. There absolutely isn't. But like
steal from the big guys.
But some people are going to be more affected by it than others. They absolutely are. That doesn't mean any of it is okay. I don't want anyone listening to this being like, oh, Laura thinks it's okay to steal from the big guys. But I'm not endorsing for anyone to steal anything. But I just think, as someone who owns a business like Tony May, for example, if I send out a piece of product and there's been a glitch and then which has never happened, but for example, if I send out something and need the person to send back a piece of product or whatever.
Like if you send too much or something.
Yeah, or like maybe they've had a repair that needed to be made, but I've sent them a replacement, but I still need the original one back because we can repair it. It's sterling silver, so it's like a precious metal. I would say 90% of people are super honest. 90% of people do send back or do make the right choice when it comes to, returning money to a business. But I think the reason why people feel a little bit differently about it when it comes to something like a big grocery store, I'm not talking about your little local IGA, I'm talking about one of your big, your Coles, your Woolies or whatever, is because of the markups that are existing across all groceries and the billion-dollar profit that companies are making on food and necessities that people are needing to buy. So I think when you see across media that so many of these grocery stores have recorded billion-dollar profits, it makes me feel a little bit less judgmental of someone who wants to keep $140 worth of groceries because of a quote-unquote IT error. I don't want to tell you what you should or shouldn't do because obviously you and your husband don't agree on this, but I think in this instance, make a decision that you feel like you can morally live with. If you can get up in the morning and be okay with the fact that you didn't let the grocery store know that you got your $140 order, then I'm like, all right, well, then that's on you to do. You know what I mean? Who am I to tell you that it's okay to take something that's not yours? But at the end of the day, if all of these things are true, if you are struggling financially in the way that you say you are, then I'm kind of like, look, you have to sometimes prioritize yourself. Maybe it's a little win.
Morally, the answer is obviously gaslight, lie to your husband, say you took it back to Coles, but keep the money in your own bank. End of story.
I don't know. And I think the reason why we're dancing around this is because
We're not dancing.
Well, a little bit is because it is one where the right and absolute just answer is to say, don't ever steal. There's no situation where stealing is okay. Return what isn't yours and be an honest person. And I do think that that is definitely the right way to be in all situations in life. But I think sometimes there is like things that are horrifically bad when it comes to stealing, it comes to theft, and it comes to how it's going to affect a person. And then there are ways in which we allow ourselves to justify it because there's no little guy who's getting hurt at the bottom of it. There's massive, massive corporations. And I'm like, those I feel a little bit differently about. But should I? I don't know. Maybe I'm the one who's a bit of an asshole here as well.
Well, I also think it's a different story when if you were going through the grocery checkout line and you just quickly took the money and ran off knowing that you weren't paying for it, it's different. Like it's.
I actually don't think it is, to be honest.
I do. I think it's an intent. Yeah, you set out to intentionally steal. It's very different to this being an IT mistake later at home that you found out a couple of days later. Like that is hugely different to having the malicious intent to steal from somebody.
Okay, well, here is my question though, because regardless of whether it's an opportunistic theft or an intentional theft, at the end of the day, it is still a theft. It is still the same amount of money that you're taking from a business. So if you don't feel comfortable to walk down the aisle and put $140 worth of groceries in your back pockets and up your skirt, then is it morally different to take advantage of a situation where you are profiting from something that's an incorrect error and that business is being affected in the exact same way? The only thing that's different here is your intent. The outcome to the business is the same.
Intent is the difference between going to prison or not. Intent is a huge thing. Like, let's not downplay intent.
No, because I do think you have to downplay it a little bit because the reality is here she has the opportunity to make a situation correct and she's choosing not to. So I'm still on your side, but I think that's like a bigger thing to unpack. Like whether something's done maliciously or opportunistically, the outcome is the same. Because it turns into being malicious because you've got the opportunity to correct your ways.
Yeah, look, is it wrong? Yes, it is wrong.
I care?
That's it. Like, it doesn't have to go further than that. Stealing is wrong. Stealing is not right. You have taken money and you do know about it.
Keisha's like, but I would do it.
Yeah, but having said that, I think in this economic climate, I genuinely believe, and maybe you guys can all think in your own head what you would do right now. I genuinely believe there'd be a lot of people, probably more people than not, that would just keep this and not mention the glitch. That's what I believe.
I absolutely agree with you, Britt. And I think this would be such an interesting one to poll because I would love to know whether or not you guys as listeners feel more of a moral obligation than what we're saying we would. And I would return it because financially I'm not in a situation that this woman is in. But if all of these things were my financial situation, if I was finding it hard to make ends meet at the end of the week, fuck, $140 can go a long way.
100%, especially when you've got 3 little tiny children depending on you.